everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Steph, and today I'm finally doing another book recommendation video. I feel like it's been so long, and I'm so sorry. I've been traveling, I've been so busy, and school has never been this demanding in my entire student career. So it's been very hard for me to read, let alone read enough to do a recommendation video. So I'm really sorry about that. But today I'm here with a new book recommendation, and this one is super special, super personalized for you guys specifically. I asked on my Instagram story for you guys to drop tropes, specific characters, basically anything that you are currently craving in a book. Write it in this message to me, and then I'm going to come and find you a perfect book recommendation based on what you want. These are very specific tropes and stuff, so if you guys also like them, this would be a book rec for you. I've seen such good requests, like such specific good tropes or like plot lines that you want to see, or you want a book that just has this one specific scene. I haven't even prepared for this at all. I'm just gonna think of the first book that comes to my head and recommend it to you. If you want to be included in other videos similar to this where they're more interactive with you guys, follow me on my Instagram. That's where I do all of that kind of stuff, so you can go head over there and follow me on there, or not if you don't want to, that's fine too. But before we get started, I want to talk to you about the sponsor of today's video, which is Book of the Month. If you didn't know, Book of the Month is a super popular and fast-growing online book service for readers, and their mission is to promote new and emerging authors and help readers discover books they love. So their team vets hundreds of books every single month and gives you a curated list to choose from of new and early release titles. That way you can spend more time reading and less time researching. And Book of the Month is risk-free, so you can skip any month and not be charged. They have the best prices for hardcover new release fiction. Like, you can get your first book for only $9.99 using my code Steph. If you live within the US, they ship within the US. But now I'm gonna show you the books I got. I'm so excited. I got 7 books this month. Oh my gosh. Okay, first is The Family by Naomi Krapitzki. Then we have The Collective by Allison Galen. A Little Hope by Ethan Joella. I think I said that right. I love this cover. How to Marry Keanu Reeves in 90 Days by K.M. Jackson. Interesting. And then The Keeper of the Night by Kylie Lee Baker. But then you can also get add-on options, and look at the books from the add-ons. Okay, so first, Will by Will Smith. And then we have My Body by Emily Ratajkowski, whatever her name is, the model. How exciting is that? That's so cool. But yeah, thank you so much, Book of the Month, for sponsoring today's video, and let's get back into the recommendations. Okay, I'm going through them now, and I'm just going through the first one I literally see from Adoring Q Steph. Ask for Marriage in Peril, Something Like All Your Perfects. And I haven't read a lot of books where the characters are already married and it's kind of like second chance romance, but I am currently reading, actually at the moment, You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogle. This is a marriage in peril, not like All Your Perfects. It's not as emotional, it's more rom-com-y. Lovers to enemies to lovers. Basically it shows them like falling in love in the very beginning and being obsessed with each other, and then it like flashes to the future when they're engaged and they're low-key sick of each other. No, high-key. They both don't want to go through with the wedding. I'm only halfway through, but I really like it so far, and I can tell their redemption is going to be really good, because obviously they never actually lost the love for each other. It's just something that they have to talk about and use their communication skills that they're not very good at. But it's really, really addicting, this book so far. I started it last night, so I'm not that far in, but I wanted to recommend it because as soon as I saw The Marriage in Peril, I was like, perfect, I'm literally reading one right now. And I've heard such good things about this book, so it's been on my TBR for the longest time, and it's definitely Marriage in Peril. So if you're looking for one not as emotional as All Your Perfects, but the same kind of Marriage in Peril vibes, You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogle will do it for you. Okay, the next specific thing that Carlotta Dolph asked for is a book that has a bonding brother moment like Lo and Reich or like Lo and Connor. And I just read the Dirty Air series by Lauren Asher, and it totally has this between Noah in the first book, and then in the 4th book, Santi. They're actually brother-in-laws. They're actually rivals in the first book. They compete against each other. They don't get along. You see them like just not liking each other and getting really frustrated with each other. But Noah falls in love with Santi's sister. And then when you get to the 4th book, it's Santi's book. And Noah does the cutest stuff for him behind the scenes. Like, their bromance was like my favorite part of this book. I loved Redeemed, the 4th book. I loved this whole series, but their bromance, the relationship development of these two characters really reminds me of Lo and Reich. It, like, that vibe. Obviously not as developed because there's a lot more books in that series, but they just do really cute shit for each other, and you can see the love that grew between them because now they're brother-in-laws and they really do care about each other. And in the first book, they like fucking hated each other. So I definitely recommend reading the Dirty Air series if you're looking for that like bromance. Sorry, I just kind of had to adjust because the sun is literally rising right now. It's so early in the morning. I have a lot to do, so I had to wake up super early to do this. The sun is literally rising, as you can tell. So I'm sorry if the lighting keeps changing. But the next book request was one where it's the girl who hates everyone in the world but you. This one I feel like is like an uncommon trope, like it's always the boy. But I'm gonna recommend to you Most of All You by Mia Sheridan. This book is so emotional and like deep. I feel like all Mia Sheridan books are, where both the characters just have a really, really severe trauma, like really rough backstories, but I feel like that builds like a really good romance. But in this book, I would say the girl, she doesn't necessarily hate everyone in the world, but like she does because she's so closed off and none of her trauma has been like healed, so she's just kind of miserable and doesn't want to get close to anyone, doesn't want anyone to know her, doesn't want anyone in her life. She just doesn't trust anyone. She's just been through too much. Gabriel, the boy in this book, is so sweet, so wholesome, and so innocent. They're kind of like opposites, but they also are so alike, and she tries to fight their connection for so long, but he's just so perfect and so nice to her that she can't stay away from him. I definitely recommend it for the girl hating everyone in the world but you. Okay, next rec, As for Enemies to Lovers, LGBTQ+ edition. Okay, so I have two. First, I have Top Secret. This book is two boys, enemies to lovers. They're both in the same fraternity. I've read this a while ago, but I'm pretty sure one of them is closeted and the other one believes he's straight. They start talking to each other through this hookup app because the guy who has a girlfriend is looking for someone to all bring into their relationship to like spice things up a little bit, and they end up talking a lot. They don't know it's each other, it's anonymous, and when they find out it's each other, they're both really confused because they hated each other in their frat. They live in the same frat house, so there's forced proximity, and then neither of them knew that each other were like into guys. It's an interesting one, but I really liked the buildup of this relationship. It's super short too. It's not like enemies, like they fucking hate each other, but they're both competing to be the frat president. They like hate each other in real life, and then they'd have this online relationship not knowing it was each other. So yeah, that's Top Secret. And then I have Tristic's Venom, which is sapphic. This book is really long. This is a bully romance. If you know Penelope Douglas, she writes really like intense bully romance. Like, bully romance is not my favorite, so this wasn't my favorite, but chemistry between these two girls, oh my god. They hate each other in the beginning. Popular girl and then like kind of outcast girl. They just have so much obvious chemistry, but the popular girl literally bullies her so badly, like so much. I was like, how could you ever like her? That's the part that I found unrealistic, but obviously the buildup is very long, but it's very entertaining, and it's definitely enemies to lovers. They're kind of just from two different worlds, but they both have like so many issues and so much in common that once they get to know each other, they're like, oh, why do we even hate each other? But then they like, the one girl doesn't want anyone to know about the relationships, like secret, and this and back and forth. I liked it nonetheless. Okay, then where character A has been in love with character B since forever, but B is clueless. That is literally the definition of the cheat sheet. This book is best friends to lovers, but both of them think they're in the friend zone with the other one, but they're both in love with each other, and it's dual point of view, and you see how in love with each other they've been since high school, and now they're past college, still best friends, and neither of them will say anything because they both think they're in the friend zone. They are so in love with each other, it's like annoying. Like, just tell each other at this point. He is NFL, like he's a football player and he's really famous, and then she's like a ballet teacher. This also is a fake dating trope because his PR team like is like, you need to have a girl, so he gets his best friend who he's been in love with, who she's been in love with him, but both of them are clueless about the other one's feelings, and lines start to blur, and it's really good. I didn't love the ending of this book, but I loved the whole like storyline. So yeah, that is literally the cheat sheet. Becca.Kadings asks, I love the idea of sweet romance books like A Good Girl and Good Boy. Does that exist? And yes, that does exist because it's the definition of 1,000 Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. This is like the most innocent, wholesome characters I've ever read about. It's YA. Both the characters have been like dating each other since they were like children, and like even the way they talk, yes, it's cringy, but like they're so wholesome. This book is so sad though. It's not fully innocent, but the characters really, really are. So yes. And that leads into the next one, something like 1,000 Boy Kisses, because that book broke me. And that's when I give you Brightside by Kim Holden. Not even gonna tell you what this is about, but it's like 1,000 Boy Kisses, and it will literally rip you apart, except it's set in college and it's more mature, very sad, but very, very, very good. That's all I'm gonna say about that. _Aloxy asks for couples that never found their happily ever after. I don't know why you love pain, but Normal People by Sally Rooney, you have to read this book. I read this like in high school before I was like a huge reader, and I really liked it. Then I watched the Hulu series that came out like last year, and it re-sparked my entire deep love for this book, the characters and this story. I reread it recently, actually last month, but I didn't do a monthly reading wrap up, and it just like reminded me how much pain that this brings me. This is about popular boy in high school, quiet girl. He kind of keeps her a secret because he likes her, he doesn't want anyone to know, he's kind of ashamed, whatever. It follows their life throughout a span of years and how much they change and grow, and they always have this deep love for each other, but they can just never get it right. There's always something in the way. I felt like this was the most like painfully realistic love story I've ever read, and the way it ends, it's one of those books that just leaves you feeling like, what happened? Like, you don't really know how it ends. It's kind of like you have to interpret, you could decide, I guess, what happens. But I definitely recommend this book, even though it's so frustrating. It's not like the typical romance that I would recommend, but it's more of a coming of age. I got so attached to these characters. I swear, like, love this book book so much. I was literally annotating it the last time I read, and I was like, how is it written so well? I just don't understand. Someone asked for the classic sharing one bed trope, and I'm gonna think of the ones I can think of off the top of my head, which is the unhoneymooners, the people we meet on vacation, the Spanish love deception, and the cheat sheet. Is that all? Those are the ones I can think of off the top of my head. I know a lot of people love that trope, but it's such a quick moment in the book that I usually forget it happens. So yeah, those are the ones I know for a fact it happens in them. Okay, the next one someone asked for is boss and employee romance. I have not read a lot of these, but The Fine Print by Lauren Asher, Grumpy Sunshine, 5 out of 5 stars. Fucking love this book. It's so good, and it's boss and employee. Oh my god. Read it right now. And also The Love Hypothesis by Hazelwood. This is not necessarily boss and employee, but it's professor and graduate student, so she works under him, so it feels like boss and employee. It's also fake dating and very, very good, and I feel like everyone's read this already, but I'm still gonna tell you to read it. Someone asked for books that will make me stare at my ceiling and contemplate life for weeks after reading. Oh, let me gather some good recs for this. Okay, I got a few. There's so many books that have this effect on me. Personally, I love emotional books more than anything in the entire world. Please give me recs that you experienced this feeling of like you can't even move on after reading it for days, because I would love to read them. The first one that did this to me was Ugly Love, but it didn't leave me feeling like this at the end. It was like when I found out like kind of the plot twist, I literally couldn't move on. I was like sobbing my eyes out for like hours. I had to like take a break. But then that also, the ending of It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. Everyone's read this book, so I like rarely talk about it, but this book is just so impactful, and it has such a strong message and just leaves you with like such an achy feeling, because you don't know if you feel like happy or sad or what you feel at the ending. And that's what I love about this book, and I feel like it's what everyone loves about this book. You definitely feel that after It Ends With Us. Most definitely The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This book, literally, I couldn't read after reading this. I was like, what the fuck? It is so well written. This is gonna be like a classic one day, but oh my god. Again, that achy feeling that you just can't get past it. You feel so like hollow when you finish. I feel like I learned so much from this book. I did a whole reading vlog on reading this book, and you can see all of my emotions. It's spoiler free if you want to watch it, but definitely The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And also Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Same author, same vibe. This is probably one of my favorite books of all time that's like non-romance. It still has a romance in it, but it's a subplot. Oh my god, I want everyone in the world to read this book. I want to scream it from the rooftops how much I love it. It's fucking incredible. I think about it every single day. The way it made me feel, the quotes from this book, the way it's written, oh my god, just everything about it. I'll never get over it. Full Tilt by Emma Scott, just because it's so fucking sad. You know what's gonna happen the entire time you're reading it, but when you get to it, it's just still so painful. It's a duology, so there's a second book that like heals you. After reading this book, I was just like, I'm in immense pain. And that also goes with A Thousand Boy Kisses and Brightside. Those books also gave me this feeling. And then of course, last but not least, The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, my favorite book of all time. I just love this book so much. I wish I could reread it every single day for the rest of my life to relive the feeling that this book gives me. Holy pain. I also have a reading vlog for this one if you want to watch it, but it will definitely leave you with that staring at the ceiling, contemplating your existence after reading vibe. The next one is I'm in a relationship so we can't be together ... yet. And I thought that was a good one because I feel like I haven't read many books where one of the characters is in a committed relationship, but then I thought of The Friend Zone, and that is literally this book. So basically, Kristen has a boyfriend, but he's overseas in the military, and they've been doing long distance for like their entire relationship. They've barely ever even seen each other in real life. She's planning her best friend's wedding and she meets the best man. It's Josh, and he is like immediately like drawn to her and asking about her to all the friends. They form a friendship pretty quickly. They have like the same sense of humor and they get along really well. And he ends up working for her because she owns a business. And so there's forced proximity. They hang out like every day, but she knows she could never cross that line. She has a boyfriend. She still talks to her boyfriend, but then her boyfriend starts distancing from her and like not treating her very well. And she's confused about her feelings. And then there's also an underlying plot in this book of why she knows she can't be with Josh, so why she's staying with her boyfriend. And that was really sad. This book is like the definition of frustrating because you just want them to be together so bad and there's always something in the way and they never really talk about it, but eventually you do get your happy ending. But still, I read this book so quickly because I just needed to get to the point where they were finally together. If you're looking for that trope, I would definitely recommend The Friend Zone, but if you're not looking for that trope, this book is very frustrating. The next requested trope is I see the way he looks at you, and I love this one when both the love interests are like, no, like we're not into each other like that, and then one side character is like, no, I see the way he looks at you and he's obsessed with you. So All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata has this trope. This is a slow burn single dad forced proximity trope. They kind of like are in denial about their feelings, like both of them like don't do anything about it. He's so grumpy but also so protective and so cute, and I loved this book so much. I'm trying to convince my best friend to read this for like the past month. She said she'd read it soon, but I just want her to read it so bad so I could talk about it with someone because I loved it that much. Definitely read this book, and it has that trope where her best friend is like, dude, like look at how he looks at you, look at how he protects you, look how he cares about you, how do you not see that, are you dumb? And I loved that about this book because it kind of made her like realize, like try to observe, like how does he feel about me, you know? Yeah, I definitely recommend this one. And then that trope is also in the Spanish Love Deception, and then it's also in the Soulmate Equation by Christina Lauren. So if you're looking for that trope, those are the ones I can think of off the top of my head, but that's a really specific moment in books, so sometimes I can't think of it right away. The next request is Right Person, Wrong Time, But We End Up Together. That one is A Love Letter to Whiskey by Steiner. Oh my god, this book is so back and forth, so slow burn. It starts off with the characters are in high school and he's dating her best friend, and that's how they meet. Like they became friends right away. They became super close friends during that relationship just because it was like the right thing to do. When your friend's dating someone, like you befriend their boyfriend, whatever. But nothing more than that until friend and him broke up, time went on, they went to the same college, they reunited, they're finally like at a place where they could be together, but there's always something keeping them apart. It's literally the definition of right person, wrong time. They graduate college, they move to different states, they pursue different jobs, all these things keeping them apart, but they always find their way back to each other, and then they get pulled apart, and then they find their way back to each other and they get pulled apart again. Frustrating. I don't know why you guys like these frustrating books. A Love Letter to Whiskey is definitely that trope. I'm dying. Someone goes, don't hate me, but pregnancy trope. Because I feel like everyone hates the pregnancy trope, and low-key I'm one of them. I don't hate the book if it has it, but I just don't like when it happens. So this part is gonna be kind of spoilers because I feel like usually the pregnancy trope is like a surprise. So if you don't want to hear what books have this, you want it to be a surprise, then don't watch this clip. But maybe watch this part if you want to avoid these books. Watch this part if you know you're looking for books with pregnancy tropes, because I have a few. Okay, I can actually only think of 2 books that are coming to mind right now. The first one is Heartless King by Maya Hughes. It's the last book in the Kings of Rittenhouse series. This one, they start off as like friends with benefits, and then she gets pregnant, and that's the whole trope, is built off that pregnancy. It's what brings them together. But then one of them where just like surprise happens throughout the book is Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating by Christina Lauren. This one is Friends to Lovers, and this one is quirky girl serious boy trope. And yeah, I love everything Christina Lauren write, but this is probably my like least favorite book by them that I've read, but it's still really entertaining nonetheless. I just hate the quirky girl trope. This one, they like set each other up on a bunch of dates, and it's so obvious that they want to date each other. There's so much tension between them, and then it finally happens, and then boom, pregnancy trope, and you're like, oh, okay. Okay, and then I think this is gonna be the last recommendation. Someone asked for a feel-good summer vibe romance to read in winter when you just want to go on vacation, and that immediately brought my mind to The Summer of Broken Rules. This book is set in Martha's Vineyard, and it's probably my favorite setting of any book I've ever read. Like, it feels just so magical, and I'm obsessed with the Cape. Like, I want to live there so bad. But this family basically travels to Martha's Vineyard. They own a bunch of property there. One of like the aunts or whatever is getting married, so the whole family is there, and they're playing this game of like assassins or something where they just like run around this like whole island spraying each other with water guns. It's so competitive. And then she meets this boy at this wedding, and they start this alliance within the assassins game, and then obviously it starts turning into a romance, and it's so cute. And this book is such a feel-good vibe. Even though the main character has recently went through something pretty traumatic, it is such a good summer feel-good, exactly what you're asking for, and I couldn't recommend it enough. I loved it so much. With all that being said, I feel like I recommended a lot of books in today's video. I hope that I covered some of the tropes that you've been looking for, that you love. If not, maybe I'll do a part 2. Let me know if I should. Go follow me on Instagram to participate in it if I do a part 2, which I definitely should. Like, this video was super fun. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in my next video very, very soon. Bye!